Welcome to the analysis of the Jungle Book. The law of the jungle, which never orders anything without reason, forbids everything beast to eat man itself when he is killing, to show his children how to kill, and or to drive. This extract belongs to the interesting and famous story called the Jungle Book, which is very popular around the world, written by Rudyard Kipling in 1894. Now, I'm going to talk about three specific aspects: the contextual framework, the linguistic framework, and finally the semantic framework. Let's start with the contextual framework. Joseph Rudyard Kipling was born on 30 December 1865 in Bombay, India. When he was 3 years old, he was taken to England for living there. During his experiences in UK, he felt isolated and discriminated, living without any supporting of his parents. Due to economic problems, he had to return to India, but this stay abroad was very meaningful. He wrote a book based on his childhood. He was adopted by a family and then discovered interesting talents from Kipling. Let's go to talk about the book. The Jungle Book was written during the Victorian epoch and laying out the characteristics of the Victorian fiction. This masterpiece is the example of the adventure fiction genre. This book is intended for children, but it also can be read by adults. The book itself contains a lot of short stories, and each one possesses a moral, in each story one can observe the pursuit of growing up in a particular place or looking for surviving. In literary context, the Buddhist Roman was a very popular form of narrative in the Victorian age. The book was a classic example of it. Some themes taken into account were the individual's growth, the quest for adulthood, and other. About the historical context, at first sight, the jungle appears to be rite of passage story about a rather unusual boy growing up with wolves in the jungle. The myth of the wolf boy is a leading one, dating back at least to the legend of the founding of Rome, with twins Romulus and Remus supposedly suckled by a wolf. Perhaps Kipling picked up such a story in India, or perhaps he had heard of the wild boy of Aveyron, an 11-year-old child who had been found running naked and wild in a forest in France. As the story unfolds, we realize that Kipling is conveying a deeper message. Kipling suffered from distinct discrimination. In the Jungle Book exists a hidden metaphor for civilization. Due to the political circumstance that India suffered and obviously the influence on the UK imperialism. About the social context, at the beginning of the book, one can observe that there is a novelty, that it is explicit, the law of the jungle for which the animals should obey. There is a singular scene in which the animals encounter for discussing the care of the little boy as a debate. Now let's move to the linguistic framework. Simile. He has eyes like a red fire. Onomatopoeia. There is some sounds like hum, fa, and hoo that belongs with the onomatopoeia type of rite. There is an archaism Thai and Thi. This belongs to the archives level of English, and the noun is a like of, I don't know how to say that. It's like you and yours in the English noun level. There is a metaphor, the cool of the summer sun, and during all the book, the personification, I can say, the animals talk and interact to human beings. Syntax features kind of English and vocabulary used. In the Jungle Book, in Kipling text, language is major concern since Mowgli, although a human being, is raised among the animals of the jungle, and it's not acquainted with human language. At first, I can only speak the language of the wild beast. Kipling give the boy the power to communicate to our animals with specific sounds and gestures. Now, let's move to the semantic framework. It's important to mention that this is the first Kipling book that I have read, and I found it interesting and moving. As I always have liked the books related to the adventure, and this book has a lot of it. But I want to add some important information related to the famous movie carried out by the industry of Disney that I already have watched. In the entire movie, there are no risks at all. The boy rises in a comfortable environment. In contrast, the book shows somehow the difficulties that experiences the little boy in the jungle, looking for right ways to overpass the obstacles presented in the story, and not just this particular story, and not just this particular story. All the stories treated in the book are very catchy and entertaining. Credits and external citation. Kristen comments, Kipling wrote a fantastic series of short stories, only a few of which include Mowgli. Baloo is no lazy idiot. Kaa is not a bad guy. Shere Khan is killed rather than run off. The wolves are not always the noble good guys. This is very different than our cotton candy Disney film, and so much more enjoyable for it. Natalie comments, my thoughts, this book almost mirror what I thought when I reviewed Treasure Island and Swiss Family Robinson. Thoughts are perception of what were right, wrong, acceptable or not acceptable were vastly different from today. I can observe that in the last one commentary that there is closely relationship with the Treasure Island, in which the story was based on a boy rising up with obstacles. Well, in two books there's a strong relationship because one of the character, well, the major character, trying to rising up in a rare environment. It means in a weird environment. The main character doesn't feel well. Well, let's start to the tone. Moral tones of honesty, determination, and righteousness, are the prevailing values of honest Britons, and it was part of the propaganda of the time. Are strongly prevalent. The fact is Mowgli didn't want to walk away from the wolves, and he faced up the jungle rule, but the jungle itself consumed it. Themes developed in the masterpiece. An overall theme which is prominent in the Jungle Book is the civilization between two groups of society. The fact is that a person is involved in the process of acceptance in a society. That's why the animals don't feel comfortable. During the story, Mowgli learns to manipulate the jungle and have achieved to overpass the rules and obviously to fit in that society. Well, as a conclusion, the themes presented in the book are catchy, interesting, and fabulous and call the attention of the kids. But in this moment, the kids are not interested at all to read a book in which involve a history of a man. They are more interested in technological devices and games and to do whatever they want, but they don't realize that this book involves in their self. That's all. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.